So this is Resources for Technology Research. We are going to focus on three different aspects. We are going to look at identifying and developing a relevant topic, finding technology research in databases, and accessing the research through NIU's databases. A great place to start would be the databases that are specific to your major or your field of study. And many students start there and they can find a few resources, but they find that they're somewhat limited. There's a few other places we can go. You can always start with a general Google search, although as we know, that tends to return a lot of different information that's not always the most relevant. Google Scholar also can be a great place to locate information. But if you're still not sure of what you're researching quite yet, or if you're not sure of the vocabulary terms, the keyword terms you should be using, starting out with Google Scholar may be difficult. So if you're trying to figure out what sort of technology you're interested in looking at, particularly if you're trying to relate it to a specific field, a specific career, there's two additional websites I recommend. The first is the Communications of the ACM website. The second is the Ieee Spectrum website. So here is a website for the Communications of the ACM. The ACM is a professional organization for computer scientists as well as people working in a variety of careers related to computing. Communications of the ACM is one of the group's official publications. What's great about it, and what's great about this website, is a lot of the information is somewhat easily accessible and fairly easily understandable to people who may not be specialists. And so it can be a great way to start to look for relevant technologies you may be interested in learning about further. So let's say I'm interested in healthcare, if I can spell it right, healthcare and artificial intelligence. We can go into the little box up here, type in healthcare and artificial intelligence, and click search. And the search is going to return a bunch of different resources for us. Right? So here it says artificial intelligence in medicine. Now there's an app for that. Well, that sounds really interesting to me. So I'm going to click on that source and let's see what comes up here. All right. Artificial intelligence in medicine, now there's an app for that, right? And so here, this is an older article, but it's still relevant for our purposes here. It gives a quick brief. This appeared in the ACM Tech News, which allows people to know about breakthroughs, and it brings together information from other sources. So if you see up here, right, the original source for this is The Economist. If you scroll to the bottom, you can go and find the full article in The Economist. This website not only gives you information from the ACM itself, but it brings together other news sources. And so it can be helpful for just getting started and trying to find additional information. The other website that also has general information that is somewhat accessible to the public is Ieee's Spectrum. The Ieee, again, is another professional organization in engineering, and Spectrum is their publication. You can use it similar to the way you would the ACM, click search, and enter the terms that you're interested in. If you're not even sure what you're interested in, on both websites you can scroll through and look at the latest news and information on technology. Simply scrolling through may provide some, ideas for you to start looking at. There's an important thing to note about all the websites. Articles are not necessarily from peer-reviewed or what your professor may consider to be an academic source. For example, the article I clicked on regarding the healthcare bot originally came from The Economist. And so this is a great place to get ideas. And in some instances, the searches may lead you to peer review articles and citations, but not necessarily. Once we've identified a topic or a technology that we're looking at, how do we go and find some of those better resources that are more likely to be considered peer review or academic sources? Here is where we are going to deal with different databases. Finding technology in research databases. NIU has databases set up so that you can look at resources by subject. And here, if you're using NIU's databases, when you're looking up resources by subject, look into the resource listing for computer science. This listing will give you multiple options, and I'm going to talk about 3 different options that I think are most helpful for students in my courses. And those options include the Association for Computing Machinery Library. So this is the library for the ACM I just told you about, but this is their library of academic articles. Science Direct, which is a database focused on science as well as technology research, and Web of Science. And Web of Science is a database for research in the hard sciences as well as in social sciences. Here is the main page for NIU's library. And if you scroll down here, it gives you several options of places to search. If you go to databases, it gives you this option to look at resources by subject. Click on that. It brings up a whole list of different majors and different fields of study. Here we want to go over to computer science. Click on computer science. You are going to be given several options. Go to article databases and go to core databases. From there, this is where you can find those 3 resources I was talking about, as well as some other resources you may want to explore. A lot of students like Academic Search Complete. It can be helpful, but students often don't necessarily find the best information. I think one of the best resources is the Association for Computing Machinery Digital Library. So let me go ahead and show you that now. I went to the ACM Digital Library, the link, and to save time, I've already put in a search. Here I put in healthcare and artificial intelligence. This is where we now are going to get and look for those academic research articles. All right, so here we have digital technology in healthcare and elderly care, emerging technologies for healthcare and aging, merging healthcare and technology, a multidisciplinary health information technology curriculum. When you're dealing with this database, you want to pay attention to the different types of content available. For example, the first return was a research article. The second was a tutorial, and the third was a poster. These latter 2 have to do with how scholars present their research at conferences and in other formats. And most of the time, that's not what students are looking for in their research papers. Over here, you're given the option of choosing different publications by name, research articles, posters, tutorials, etc. I always suggest that students click on research article, and that is going to get them information that's closer to what they're looking for. Now I'm back at the NIU database listing for computer science. We already looked at the database for the Association for Computing Machinery. Let's go ahead and, for our purposes, go to Science Direct next. Right? So if we click on Science Direct, we have the option up here to do an advanced search or a general keyword search. Here, let's just do a quick keyword search. Let's look for marketing and artificial intelligence. Whenever we're looking for a specific term, it's generally good to go ahead and put it in those quotation marks. All right, so let's go ahead and hit search. Now that we see that we have brought up a great deal of information, 8,968 results. And here we're seeing, for example, artificial intelligence and marketing, pitfalls and opportunities. We can go through, and if we want to make sure that we're just getting those research articles, we can select that by checking this box over here. Finally, going back to the resources, the last resource that is helpful is Web of Science. And so I've already brought up Web of Science over here. We can begin with just a general search. Let's say, because Web of Science includes both hard sciences and social sciences, let's say we're interested in politics and bots. So bots, again, are those automated technologies that put information and disinformation on social media. And so let's just put in politics and bots and see what comes up. Here we have, when we go down to the third, we see Rise of the Machines, examining the influence of social bots on a political discussion network. So that's probably something we are going to be interested in. Those are three of the databases to consider: the Association for Computing Machinery Library, the Science Direct, and Web of Science, depending on if we're looking more in the hard sciences or social sciences. It's important to note that the search functions and the way the searches work on each database is different. So you may have to, again, play around with different keywords, different search operators, so and, or, but, the use of quotation marks, and the identification of peer-reviewed research may vary in these databases. Okay, accessing the actual research through NIU. Always make sure you're logged into your NIU account and that you're accessing these databases and these articles via the library. That will mean that typically if we subscribe to the journal or to the service that's being used, you can go ahead and get the article. Sometimes it may be difficult for you to decide whether or not the article is available. One thing you can do is going back to NIU's library. So here we have the main library page, and we have Husky Search, and we have Library Catalog. If you click on this little down arrow, it will give you other search options. And this Articles and More search option, you can go ahead and click on that. If you click on that, you can put the title of an article in and then hit search. And sometimes it will be able to find out whether or not it has it in the database or in the library, has a subscription to make it available to you. If not, it should lead you then to file for an interlibrary loan. So an interlibrary loan, let's go back here, right? And let's say we are interested still in our political bots. As we are scrolling through, this is the Web of Science database. You know, we want to see if we can get the full text. So we click on full text from publisher. Here is the journal. It shows this little locked mark. If you scroll down here, it says Northern Illinois University does not have access. Now, this is just taking us to the journal website. And so sometimes articles will appear in one database and you can't get access to them, but we may have access through other databases, or you may have to do an interlibrary loan search. If we go back to the database again, there's this little Find It button. Not all databases have this Find It button, but Web of Science does. It's going to take us to NIU's website, search website. And here, right, it checked to see if there's available resources. Here it's saying that you have to request it from Interlibrary Loan. And typically this takes 2 to 3 business days. So always make sure you give yourself plenty of time. You click on the request from Interlibrary Loan, and if you get lucky, right, the information is already populated for you. Sometimes you have to enter the information yourself manually, but here the information is populated for me. So I just scroll down to the bottom and I hit send request. I will receive an email in 2 to 3 days with the article, allowing me to access the article. If you find that you're having a hard time locating an article, or if you still, find yourself stuck in your research, remember that librarians are there to help you. And you can always contact a librarian and they can lead you through those different processes and help you with the databases as well.